It's Kenner's Girder panel building set. This is set number 72,000. It's from the early 70s. I loved the Girder panel building sets back in the 70s growing up. I loved these toys to death. It's a great building toy. These actually came out before I was even born. I believe in the late 50s. The president of Kenner back then, what was his name? He went by the name of Albert Steiner. He saw an office building being built, in Cincinnati, and noticed how they're using a girder and the panel sets and stuff to build it, and it gave him an idea for a toy. And that's where the girder panel toy set actually began. He handed this off to Mr. James O'Con and his assistant Michael Oppenheim, and they became, the developers of the toy. The first set came out in the late 50s, I want to say in 57 or so, and it was an instant success. The toy increased in popularity through the years. All through the 60s, more and more sets were introduced. The 70s had a lot of sets introduced. The toy line has actually changed hands multiple times. And I believe it was made up until sometime in the mid-2010s, somewhere in there or something. And it basically it's still the same toy, just it's changed ownership over the years. There were some really cool sets. Some of these sets came out before I even knew they were even existing. They had a sky rail set. They had monorails that would run around. I would have loved to have had that one. They had a drawbridge that was motorized that would raise and lower. Pretty cool. They had some other really neat sets as well. The two sets I had was the one that had the elevator, that you could use a little crank handle to make the elevator go up and down the building. And I had the international airport that came with runways and little plastic jets and stuff. Those are two I had. And the early sets had the masonite, like wooden looking bases. The ones I had the red plastic base with the blue girder and panels. This has black girder and panels in it. It's one of the earlier sets in the 70s. They changed sometime during the mid 70s or so to the plastic bases and the different color girders and stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm bad about rambling. This is still a cool set though. What's really neat, if you could combine a bunch of these sets together, you can make some serious structures. I remember I had a buddy that had 2 or 3 of these sets, and we used to combine all our sets together to see how high of a tower we could make. The bad part is when you separate all the sets back out to make sure you got all your pieces back. So if you kept your box, you knew you had this one had 340 pieces in it, so you could try and get all your pieces back. But typically we did. We just shared all our toys back then. It wasn't a real big deal. This one has 340 pieces in it, like I just said. Built hundreds of sturdy buildings, some over 2 feet tall. Hey, we actually made one that was taller than my brother, who was 6 foot something. We made a tower that tall once. It kind of moved around quite a bit. It was so much fun. Of course, on the side, it shows some other buildings you could make. This is a cool looking building right here. I never built this one. This was neat. You notice how they have this large span between the 2 bases down here. The way you do that is you connect your girders with these panels to make long expansions to do stuff like this. There's a neat little building there. Buildings came with little decals and stuff, little nameplates you could put on them. You had flags you put on top. It's a better picture on the back of what was on the front. So let's take a look at what came inside the box. So first off, we're going to look at the instruction manual. Alright, here's one of the instruction manuals that came with it. It's a little wrinkled. I'm trying to flatten it out as best as I can. I did scan all these in, and I put a copy of them on the Toy Tune Facebook page in the photos album categories if you want to download this stuff. Basically shows how the columns go into the base plate, and how to connect the beams up, how to snap on the little panel sets. It's a real nice looking pair of instructions here. So the back page here talks about how to make the panels fit properly. You have to trim them off a little bit when you get it. How to connect up the cantilevers to make cantilever pieces to go out over floating areas. as it shows right there. Pretty awesome. Here are flags and flagpoles. I don't have any flags or flagpoles, unfortunately. Snap-on signs, got post office, Grand Hotel, other things. Then you have your roof panels. Then also gives you some alternate things that you can build in the box as well. Look at this one. That one's pretty awesome. I like this angled one. That's pretty cool. Basically shows how to set up your little base plates in order to build these different buildings. Here's that really cool one I was talking about from the box. This is a nice one here. That's pretty cool. We'll take a look at the individual pieces here. Of course, we have one of our masonite plates here. And then right here is one of the columns. You see it has little nubbies on it to connect up your panels. So you just stick it on the board like so. So I would stick 4 of those into my masonite plate here, just like so. And then you would connect girders. Here's what a girder looks like. Got little clips on the end, and these kind of fit right in to the slots, like so. Let's hook it in. Hook it in over there. Maybe. They lock in pretty well, especially when you put another column on top. Then that holds everything together really, really well. Well, that just fell right in. That was pretty good. Hook it. I much prefer the blue beams I had to these black ones. But right there is a basic square I've made. You know, also in the box we have like these little panels. This one has doors on it. So you put that on the ground floor, like, you know, down here. Then you have panels with some long windows on them. That's pretty neat. Then you have panels with just smaller windows. There's some other panels too that come in the kits, which I don't have. Right here is a roof plate. Basically just put that on the top just like this. Finish off the top of your building. Pretty awesome. And I do have a couple nameplate things here that came with it. I have the high-rise tower nameplate and the post office nameplate. So you just put this on your building after you build it. So let's tip this up so you can see the side view here. Oh, it came off. Put it back on. Willie's had too much caffeine. So you see, this is such a great building toy. They have this one kit that you can get. I definitely would want to have. It's called the Hydro Kit, and it has this type of building structure. And we have bottles and pipes and valves and different accessories, and you actually use water to route it through different areas of your building to power up different accessories and stuff. And you have an electric pump to pump the water back up to the top of the tower. I would have loved to have that kit. I think that kit is really cool. I may try to find one to make a video on it sometime, because I've always wanted to mess with that kit. Maybe I'll get the Skyrail one too, make a video on that sometime. Try to get some kits I never had before and make videos on them, see what I think about them. Anyway, let's build some buildings, see what kind of stuff I can come up with. That was Kidder Toys Girder Pedal Building Set. A really great classic toy from my childhood I absolutely loved. Did any of you have the Girder pedal sets from Kidder? Or any of the more modern ones that are made in the 90s and 2000s. So comment down below. Let me know what kind of kits you had, what kind of memories of the toys that you've had. Anyway, as always, everyone, thanks for watching.